In Helluva Boss, there are 7 rings to hell, with the only ring we haven't seen in person yet being the mysterious Envy ring, second from the bottom, just above the Sloth ring. In the recent episode of Ghost Evers, however, we were introduced to Rolando the Infestor, one of the species believed to be native to the Envy ring, and one who gave us a big look into what it might look like there in its culture. So let's talk about everything we know about the Envy ring so far. My name is Deepcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and if you haven't seen it yet, don't forget to check out our hour-long video we made about the Helluverse conspiracy icebergs. Now, in the Helluverse, there are 7 rings, each ruled over by a different demonic sin. Pride has Lucifer, Wrath has Satan, Beelzebub belongs in gluttony, Mammon and greed, Asmodeus in lust, and then there are Envy and Sloth, for which we haven't yet met the deadly sins in person. This is based on the well-known Peter Binsfield classification of demons, however, with the demonic sins remaining being Leviathan for Envy and Belphegor for Sloth. According to a tweet from VisiPop, we would be meeting Leviathan as well as Satan soon, with Satan appearing in the recent trailer for the Season 2 finale, and Leviathan expected to be there with him. Leviathan is known in biblical lore as a sea monster with great destructive power, with stories and legends depicting him as needing to be killed in order for humanity to safely exist, such as in Psalm 74. In many ways, Leviathan is one of the earliest examples of the fallen angel trend, as the depiction of Leviathan as a sea monster was an allusion to the same tribe portrayed elsewhere in Judaism as the serpent, such as in the Bible, or the Watchers like in the Book of Enoch. As a sea monster, fans have long suspected that the Envy ring would be ocean-themed, but to a more extreme degree than the Greed ring. Blitz indicated early on in the series that the nearest ocean to the Pride ring was 3 rings down, which is the Greed ring, where we later see bodies of water that Moxie is being forced to dump dead people into. This is why the Greed ring appears to be home to shark demons in particular. However, there are also a lot of deep-sea fish-styled demons that we saw in the background of the show before eventually meeting more prominent characters like Glitz and Glam, and finally Rolando. These characters are not presented as being natural inhabitants of Greed, and instead it seems obvious that the next big ocean down would likely be the Envy ring, where deep-sea demons could thrive, with VisiPop apparently confirming that Leviathan would lean into the ocean theme by being a surfer dude. The deep-sea demons are interesting because deep-sea fish in real life are evolved to exist without light, or at least very small amounts of it. In Helluva Boss, each of the rings has a unique color, creating a spectrum from red down to orange through yellow, green, and blue, before going to dark purple for Envy with its sky. If the Envy ring is almost entirely an ocean, it could already be very deep and very dark at the bottom, but with such a dark sky, even demons that come to the surface would still be greeted by darkness. Because of that, the demons in the Envy ring evolved to give off their own light, or bioluminescence, which can help them see, and can help them lure in prey that is looking for light. At the bottom of the sea, giving off light means giving off edible energy, and certain fish like the anglerfish lure in victims with the light they give off on their heads just to eat them. Some anglerfish deep-sea demons do exist in the background of the show, indicating that deeper in the past they may have hunted on other demons using this same technique, though there is demonic wildlife and this wouldn't have to mean cannibalizing the other sentient deep-sea demons. Despite giving off light to see their immediate surroundings, the dark ocean is still hard to see in, and it would be hard to navigate in particular with only the light that a deep-sea demon gives off. So a natural adaptation that the deep-sea demons seemed to develop was the ability to become ethereal and travel through walls. Like with most species in Hell, this sort of natural evolutionary trait that the deep-sea demons developed would be used to influence the Earth. While in the ocean, the ability to go through walls helps a deep-sea demon get in and out of natural rocky barriers. But this spooky ghost-like quality also made them great for haunting humans up on Earth. In addition to this, the deep-sea demons also developed certain powers that we associate with the sin of envy, such as being able to possess other demons and people, as well as the ability to disguise themselves. While other characters like Luna and Stolas need to use purchasable magics to get a human disguise, I believe that Rolando is able to shift his appearance as part of his abilities developed to blend in with other species, even outside of the Envy ring. The deep-sea demons seem to feed off of the emotions of others, however, this takes time to unwrap psychologically. Rolando runs a haunted hotel because he gets to slowly play with his victims and push them into a state of suffering that he can taste and enjoy. And the same was likely true in the early days of Hell when species were first beginning to interact with each other. The succubus are similar in that they seem to evolve to feast off of the sexual arousal of other species, with powers to seduce them in order to get that. The deep-sea demons likewise would feast off of the trauma of other demons, and to help facilitate this, they would need disguises. By transforming themselves, deep-sea demons can probably make themselves look like other species, allowing them to pretend to be innocent victims, just like Rolando did as a human at his hotel, while pushing his victims to disturbing extremes. This ability to cloak themselves probably evolved out of their ability to give off light, with them simply being more precise in how that light shines to give off a certain illusion. In addition to being able to cloak themselves among other species, the deep-sea demons also have the ability to take over the bodies of humans and even other demons like Blitz, making it a trait they would have had early on in Hell's history as well. This likely evolved out of their ability to become ethereal to go through walls, with them realizing at some point that they could enter the bodies of others and control them entirely. The earliest likely use of this would have been against the candle-headed Baphomet demons in the Sloth Ring, I believe, as it's just one ring below Envy. As deep-sea demons, a lot of civilizations that would develop would likely be at the very bottom of the ocean there, where there appears to be leaks of water into the Sloth Ring. In this ring, water is constantly falling from the sky in little waterfalls, indicating there is a series of holes in the ring above them where the ocean is leaking out. With the Lust Ring being just below the Greed Ring with its ocean, it is believed that this is the reason it is always raining in the Lust Ring as well, coming out through many smaller cracks instead of more stylized waterfall patterns from bigger openings above Sloth. I believe that the deep-sea demons would have wanted to know where these holes lead early on, and would have used their powers to turn ghostly and travel downward, where they'd find the pink-skied Sloth Ring with all of its docile goat inhabitants, actual cattle for the Envy Ring to exploit. They would have started by changing themselves to look like Baphomets, I think, and then would have just made their lives miserable while living among them. They also might have realized that they could travel upward in their own ring after this, and make it into the Lust Ring, where they'd copy the succubus there and do the same. It is because of this that I think they would have received the reputation of being the Ring of Envious People, ones who live among the happy societies of lust and sloth to enjoy the natural benefits of those rings, while also sucking the emotional energy out of the local residents. At some point, however, the demon royals would have risen up and created an order that would stop the species from directly interfering with each other in various rings, and instead, they would turn the natural powers of these demons onto the humans of Earth. So far, imps seem to fight in wars up there, succubus seem to spread lust, Baphomet seem to be exploiting the earth for drugs, and the deep-sea demons seem to be responsible for faking hauntings. The goal of Hell in the show has been to convince the humans that Hell isn't real, it would seem, as when humans did believe in heaven and hell, they were more religious, wanting to get into heaven. Instead of forcing humans to be sinful, the demons realized they could convince humans that hell isn't real, and they would naturally feel safe sinning, not thinking there is any consequence to it. Part of that, I think, is convincing humans that ghosts are real, something the show makes a point of saying is false. In the Helliverse, once you die, you go to heaven or hell, and nothing lets you stay on Earth as a ghost. But if humans were convinced that ghosts were real, it could actually lessen the belief in hell itself. Ghosts are generally presented as haunting the Earth due to unresolved trauma against them, not because of sins they committed in life. This gives the impression to people that death has nothing to do with what we think of as minor sins, but more about what horrible things are done against you. And with that in mind, people tend to focus on indulging in what we used to call more sinful behavior. It's a complex psyop, but one I like to imagine fitting in well with the general plans that these different species of demons have for the Earth. As for the culture of envy itself, it would seem that it has developed into something of a suburb that, ironically, other species may be envious of. While Leviathan himself is apparently going to be a surfer dude type character, the Envy Ring characters so far seem elitist and racist, particularly towards the Imps of Wrath. In an earlier episode, Blitz met someone that the fanbase has started calling the Deep Sea Karen, when he tries to take Luna to the hospital for her rabies shot. This Deep Sea Karen acts like an entitled mother and is shown to teach her child hell-based racial slurs, such as calling imps fire toads in private. In Ghost Effers, Rolando also makes a point to call Millie a filthy little Rathian. This further fuels the idea that Envy is basically just a racist modern suburb, a place where the Envians try to keep out all the other species while also invading their spaces for their own benefit. They do have the added fact of their home being at the bottom of the ocean, however, and it may be harder for other demons to travel there even if they wanted to. A large part of the culture of the Envy Ring also appears to be social media, with a TikTok-like app appearing on Blitz's phone where each of the rings appear to have some sort of regular app for demons to use. TikTok makes sense as the Envy app because it was shown that the algorithm was basically pushing the videos of people you'd find in the suburbs. People who have a nice life that you aspire to have, but not so nice that it's unrelatable to the masses. Without access to Envy because of its deep ocean, the only way others may see the Envy Ring is through that app, where they get to watch these demons with perhaps nicer homes and lifestyles show off. But what do you guys think? The Envy Ring is the only one we haven't seen yet, and it's hard to say how it might fit into the show if it's hard to get there for demons who can't breathe underwater, but I'm curious to get at least a few glimpses of it before too long. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you like lore, consider signing up for our early access memberships, where we're putting out a multi-part series on the story of Lucifer hidden within the real-life Bible. Links in the pinned comment down below, and I'll see you next time.